a little over 2 years ago, we weren't doing very well, and that's no secret. I would say the success factors really start at the top. Our CEO, Dan Hesse, has created an environment where the customer experience is one of the 3 priorities, stated priorities, of our business plan. And the great news about that is it hasn't changed in the 2 years I've been in the job. And the customer experience as a priority from the CEO himself gives me the air cover, if you will, to do my job effectively and to make sure that my peers, who are very focused on the customer as well, are able to look at their aspects of the business, whether it's IT, whether it's network, whether it's the product, any operational aspect, sales and distribution. We all work together to make sure we're improving that customer experience. As a result of that, the great news is that we now have 8 consecutive quarters of improved quality metrics with our customers, and we measure that on a monthly basis. And those 2 primarily are first call resolution and customer satisfaction with customer care. We have to methodically look at all aspects of the business, how we're doing in each of those areas, and improve them with consistency over time. And if I touch on the real important aspects of the upstream, it's what are those, let's call them pain points, where customers find a need to call us in the first place. Notwithstanding any issues with customer care, they didn't call us in the beginning because there was a problem with care. They called us in the beginning because something else was going on, whether it was an issue with their handset, their bill, et cetera, et cetera. So we measured all of those pain points back to the analogy I gave earlier on the life cycle of the customer. We looked at those interactions with our customers, how many times they called us on specific issues, and then we take all of those calls, bundle them up, and go back and root cause them with my peers across the company. As a result, we have been able to fix those issues, not only for the current experience that the customer has, but now they're fixed for all future customers and existing customers going forward. And it does, frankly, take some time to understand the root cause of all these issues and then put the fixes in place. As an example, 2 years ago, our customers called us twice as much per subscriber as the big major competitors that we have. And that's irrespective of the size of your customer base, it's calls per subscriber. The average customer in postpaid calls 4 times a year or once a quarter, and ours were 8 times. I'm happy to say it, flash forward 2 years to the present time, we are at par with the competition, and our customers are now calling us less. That means they experience less of these pain points. And Dan Hesse has asked me to lead off all of his staff meetings on a weekly basis talking about this very issue. Again, back to that air cover that he's provided for us. He sets the tone as the culture of the company that customer experience is important. Therefore, these initiatives that we're working together really matter to all of us. We will use these metrics to manage the business and make sure we understand when we need to staff, how much staff we need, and what kind of training and tools and processes they need. So that's our job. The care agent sitting at their desk answering the customer's inbound calls, I want them to focus on 2 things and 2 things only. And they were focused on 12 or 15, and their compensation reflected that. They didn't know what to prioritize. So I said, look, everybody out there, you focus on 2 things, and that's 1, having a quality interaction when our customer calls, and that's defined as they answer the phone on time, courteously, professionally, they're empathetic with the customer, and they listen extensively so that they can fully appreciate the reason for the call and the underlying issues that the customer is having. And that quality aspect is measured in that customer satisfaction rating. Secondly then, once you understand all that and you have a good empathetic relationship with the customer, solve their problem. Because we know that the likelihood for them to churn goes down precipitously if we solve their issue. First and foremost, make sure it gets solved, but whenever possible, solve it the very first time, that first call resolution metric that I mentioned. So the agents now understand that their job, when hopefully we ask them if we called up and said, what is your role as an agent for Sprint, they'll say, I'm supposed to have a quality call with the customer and I'm supposed to take care of their issue. When I took this role, we were one of the largest call center operators in the world, and that's not a badge of honor I like to wear. But success has come through reducing the amount of calls. Therefore, we're left with a much smaller care organization. Oh yes, and by the way, that contributes a significant improvement to the profitability or expense reduction for the overall business. But it also gives me a smaller quality group of agents so that when I send these messages out and get them their priorities that we talked about earlier and refine the training that you referenced, and we give them that training now in modular pieces so they don't have to come off phones for hours or days at a time. They can cut and paste particular modules at their desktop and do it when their call volumes are down. So we're really getting pretty efficient at that. And then we've also matched their compensation to the priorities, so they're paid, and their opportunities to earn extra income is associated with doing well in those quality metrics. And the last piece that we've been able to put in place is what I'd call a standardization process, so that we do things consistently over and over again. Every interaction with our customer not only is consistent, but it's consistently good, and that's the key aspect of that. In order for that to come to fruition, we had to get a real-time performance measurement process in place, so that anytime a supervisor, manager, director, VP, all the way up to me, when I need to see how we're doing, we can pull up this scorecard. It's giving agent performances on a real-time basis, and it's highlighting with red codes where we need to go focus on our energy and coaching aspect at the floor level. So it's really helping us understand where the pockets are, rather than creating kind of a peanut butter performance and coaching operation. I don't leave anything to chance. I knew I had to put a great team together. I have a great team. As long as we're clear with them on what the priorities are, and to use an old phrase, inspect what you expect. And that's a diligence that often isn't found in many aspects of business, whether customer care. I think, frankly, I was helped by not being a true customer care expert. I certainly knew a lot about business and all functions of business, but I was able to come in and ask, quote unquote, the really dumb and naive questions. Why are we doing this? Because I wanted to understand it. And then once I understand it, it turns out that we really didn't do everything we were doing because it was the right way. It's because that's the way we always did it. And so my team then gets to take each one of those pieces of the business and say, all right, we're starting from scratch. What is the right way to really make this happen, to improve the care performance at the agent level, and then ultimately the satisfaction of our customers with Sprint? The first aspect of being able to talk about a good customer experience is frankly to continue focusing on improving the customer experience. We can never lose sight of the fact that we were in last place, and great news is we have 8 consecutive quarters. We're not in first place yet, and we're not going to stop until we get there. So that's the platform that I run on. There are studies, the Michigan ACS study this year noted that Sprint had the most improvement in customer care and customer satisfaction of any carrier. The J.D. Powers study in August came out and said that, first of all, we've closed the gap to the competition in quality metrics by 50%. Oh, and by the way, our performance was so strong, it lifted the entire industry's customer satisfaction. So those types of acknowledgments coming from these respected third parties are the things that are going to start creating the awareness overall for our current customers and prospects. For Sprint's continued success to be appreciated, it really has to focus on all the aspects. The network continuing to perform at its best ever levels, which it is today. The value that we offer our customers through the pricing approach that we take, whether you're a heavy voice and data customer in the Simply Everything plans, or whether you're a voice center customer and want to take advantage of our Any Mobile Anytime.
233,000 people just Twittered on Twitter. 26% of you viewing this have no idea what that means. 6,000 people are researching restaurants in a cab. 29 of them just left their phone in that same cab. 13,000 people just landed and are switching on their phones. This is what's happening now. America's most dependable 3G network. Bringing you the first wireless 4G network.
We'll also have the greatest product portfolio lineup in Sprint's history. There is no company that can match the breadth of all of our product offerings that we have in the current product portfolio. And then the last aspect is bringing in the customer care and the customer experience, whether it's the care agents or their experience in our retail facilities. So when you bring all of those together, that's when you see a company that's hitting on all cylinders and will see continued growth and success. And that's the mantra that we are on right now.
And with the magic of Sprint speed, it all came true.